Hello all, Smitty here today again. It is December 21st, Tuesday. Still cold and damp outside. It's 41 degrees and foggy, high of 54 today and a low of 37 tonight. So another cool day in Fresno, California. But today I think I'm going to start off with showing you guys some of the stuff that I do at work. Mainly our imaging station. So that's what's behind me right here is our imaging station. It's where we basically refurbish the computers and get them ready to put Windows back on them. But first what I have to do is I have to upgrade the hard drive. Because most of the PCs that we have are still viable, they're still usable for the company, but what I do is we take out the regular hard drive, which got two examples right over here. This is a regular 3.5 inch spinning SATA hard drive. So these hard drives, and then we've got for the smaller computers like what's back here, this is called a USDT or an ultra slim desktop, and then the one that's right there is called a small form factor. And so the small form factors use these 3.5 inch drives, and the USDTs use these 2.5 inch hard drives. These hard drives have platters in them. As you can see right there on the bottom, it's got a center area, and same with this one. You can't see it as well because it's not so small, but excuse me, they have a center area with spinning platters on them, so that's what holds all the data, and it sits there and spins. And you probably heard them booting up if you have a computer with a spinning hard drive in it. But we are refurbishing them to solid state hard drives, and I'll show you those in just a few minutes. I've got a couple boxed up over there that I'm going to pull out and install in a couple of computers. I needed to check this computer out real quick and see if it will actually boot into Windows first, so I can uninstall a software in there that's needed to remove the license to be able to install on another computer that I just replaced it with, because that one would not boot up. So I'm going to check that out, and I'll be back in a few minutes to walk you through my process of refurbishing these computers, getting them set up on our imaging station, and getting them imaged. Okay, so I've checked out that computer now, and it still won't boot. So basically it just needs refurbished and re-imaged. I think the hard drive was going bad in it, or an update to the system basically crashed the operating system. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 4 total, which is what we have space for, is 4. And I'm going to do 2 of the small form factors and 2 of the USDTs. I'm going to try not to show you too much information about the computers. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but these already have been refurbished basically, and they just needed to go from Windows 7 to Windows 10 because Windows 7 is no longer supported by Microsoft. So if you see inside here, it's got the RAM chip right there, which our standard hardware is a solid state hard drive now, and 8 gigabytes of RAM. That 8 gigabytes of RAM is already in there. This was already upgraded, but it was was installed with Windows 7 instead of Windows 10 because it was a while ago. And now I'm trying to get this cable out so I can show you the hard drive, which is, or the solid state drive I should say, which is underneath the CD drive. Just slips right out after you unplug it, and then you just push this little clip, the hard drive slides back, and it's got this nice little hard drive caddy. So that's a 256 gig Samsung solid state hard drive. And we just slip it right back in there, lock it down, and it puts itself in place. And then you slide the CD drive back in and plug it back in with its dual connector there. And then you put the case back on, if you can line it up correctly. It's a little hard holding it in the air, but I want you guys to be able to see my imaging station. And I'm not important enough to have a cameraman, so so there we go. You just slide it back on and screw in the little thumb screw. I'm only going to show you the one so that you don't get too bored. Alright, so I've got my small form factor PC here. As you can see, it's got a little lever here. And you just pull the lever and the case comes off. Or I should say the cover. So I'm gonna sit it over here. I'm gonna actually bring you over so you can see the internals here. So there's the hard drive here. It's one of the 3.5s, of course. And then right in there is the stick of RAM. The blue color in these PCs means that it is only a 4 gigabyte stick of RAM. And so we need to upgrade that. And here's my handy dandy little box of extra RAM that I use on a regular basis. So I'll pick one of these, which will probably be this one, I believe. Yeah, and actually I will try and hold you and do this at the same time. We're going to upgrade this. Just move the clips, and as you can see on this RAM stick, there's a shorter side and a longer side. And the same thing with the slots down here. This one has 4 slots. This computer can hold up to 32 gigabytes of RAM. So 4 8 gig sticks. And you just lightly push it into the slot there, and then you push down until it clicks on both sides. And that's it. And then there's a little clip under here for the hard drive. And basically, I don't know if I can do this one-handed. We'll see. Oh, yep. The clip stayed out. So, and then you just pull the hard drive out of here, and you take the 2 cables off of it that are right here. And then that allows us to get our other solid state drive ready to put in the machine. So I'm gonna move you back onto the box over here so that I can start getting that stuff ready. Let's see if I can get you back to where I had you mostly. That's pretty good for right now. Alright, I'm going to set this on my stack of 1,500 of them that we're never going to use again. And let me get the my box of solid state drives, and I call them hard drive caddies. Some people call them something different. This is a drive bay because the small form factor computers are set up for a larger hard drive. So we have to use these storage kit, the drive caddies, to put the 2.5-inch drive in it for it to fit in a 3.5-inch slot. But I don't put them back up here because for whatever reason, the way HP made it, they have this little bracket here right in front of where the hard drive was that actually gets in the way when you use a caddy and a solid state hard drive. And it actually bends the cable that's right here. So I actually place it in a different spot, and I'll show you that here in just a few minutes. But right now we have to get our hard drive caddies and stuff all ready. So that's why I have my nice little razor knife that actually has a lock. You can't open it without turning the dial, and it has a 1, 2, and 3, and that's how far the blade comes out. I don't ever use anything other than 2. No need for anything longer than that. And I just slice the tape. Put those there. And now I've got my solid state drive box. And now that it's empty, I need more. But I have to order those from downtown because I'm not at our main location. I'm at one of our off-site locations permanently. And again, just slice open the boxes. And then always lock your razor knife once you're done with it. All right, and these guys have nothing but a little solid state drive. And if you don't know what a solid state drive is, basically it is just a board with a bunch of items soldered onto it, like basically just like a hard drive. A flash drive. They're made exactly just like a flash drive, and they're made to be your main hard drive. So they have a little larger capacity than a flash drive does because it's a larger format. But basically they allow you to have much quicker response times from your computer because it is just going to a board instead of trying to find that information on a spinning platter. So it just allows you direct access to your information much quicker. Just need to throw those away over there in my garbage can. So let's unbox these here. So these actually come with another SATA cable that we don't ever use because the machine has an existing cable, and it comes with 2 sets of screws, but we only need the small ones to put the solid state drive on the caddy. I'm going to push this guy out of the way, and I'm going to set that there and throw this in the garbage so it's not in the way. And then I'm going to open the second one quickly without explaining myself. It's not exactly a quick process for this stuff, but this is what we do a lot. We have a lot of PCs that we replace constantly due to changing technology and operating systems changing so much, and just the industry itself changing so much. So first off, I need a regular Phillips screwdriver, and I'm gonna move my keyboard out of the way here. I don't normally do that, and it just comes with 4 screws. Having a magnetic screwdriver is a godsend when you're doing this kind of work, because you've got a lot of small parts, and you can put the screw on the end of the screwdriver and move around and it's not going to fall. But see, these actually go in this caddy like this. It's got little brackets on the sides to hold it in place, and then there's 4 screws on the bottom. And on these, the bottom is an adjustable slot and the tops are not. So you do the tops first to make sure that you get the bottom 2 aligned correctly, because you don't want it crooked in this caddy here. And I'll show you a cool little thing that HP actually did with their computers also, which is something that I would have never thought about doing, I don't think, but they made it much easier on us computer technicians to do these things. And I'm going to do both solid state drives real quick beforehand so that I can do both PCs real quick. Like I said, just align it on there. Magnetic screw driver. So, and that's one of the other things I said I was going to talk about today, and that's cancellations. I just had to cancel another order this morning that had been almost 5 days, or no, just over 5 days. The person hadn't paid for it. I know I have eBay set to where if they don't pay in 7 days, it automatically cancels, and then they are able to just relist it automatically as well. But I'm too impatient for that. I like my money when people are going to order something from me, so I just don't think it's a cool thing for them to order and not actually pay. So here we are again. So I'll lift you up a little more. But so if you see this rail right here, see these screws, they're actually not for anything except for allowing us to take them out and mount the solid state drive inside the caddy right under this CD drive, just like the little ones are up here, just like how that is. So basically you take these out of here. Like I said, they're not for anything, they don't hold anything together, they are just for us to be able to do this with. So you put them in the sides of the caddy, on the front hole and the last hole. On both sides. And if you wonder why I clear my throat so much, One is because I smoked for 24 years and then vaped for almost 5 years before I quit just over 2 years ago now. I know, great job me. I did a good job and quit, but it did cause that clearing of the throat all the time. Plus, I'm still not used to just sitting and talking for so long. I just don't do it that much. I interact with a lot less people than you would probably think. And if I do interact, it's only for a few minutes here and there, not for extended periods of time like this. I've been talking to you guys now for 17 minutes. And I always just save the extra little screw that's in there, just in case one's missing or I lose one, anything like that. So now what we do is this little part actually lifts up in here, which is very neat. Their designs are ingenious sometimes, but these are really tight, unlike normal. But you just move those aside. Excuse me again. And just push this guy. Push that guy in its slot. And we try to get the nasty dust out of here. And then, so what we have to do is we have to reroute these cables here, which this one, just fine now. This one, we unfortunately, a lot of times, have to disconnect because it's all jumbled up in these wires here. See, it's all jumbled in there under this hook here. So the easiest way is to disconnect it and then pull it through and then reconnect. So what I'm really doing this for, you know, is I think that learning some basic computer skills is a good idea. So basic, even hardware troubleshooting, swapping out little parts is a good idea for anybody, because honestly, computers aren't going anywhere. Not for a very long time. And it's probably going to be completely different in the next, you know, in 50 years, but the technology is going to remain the same. And once you get that connected, you just make sure your ends here are not in the way of anything, not hurting anything, and make sure your cables and your ends don't get bent. Put it back in place, and now we're done putting that computer together. It's ready to be imaged and sat up here on the imaging station, which is actually pretty cool. It only takes about, I don't know, 10 minutes start to finish if you're not sitting here explaining it to someone. So, you know, I'm gonna put this cover on it, back on it, and then I'm gonna let you guys go for just a few minutes. I'm gonna get myself completely dusty with the dirty computer, and I'm gonna get this stuff out of the way so that I can, real quick, I'll put the other one back together, and then I will show you me hooking these up on the next clip of this. Okay guys, it's been about 5 minutes and I've got that second one done already. All refurbished and ready to be set up on the imaging station and re-imaged. And as I mentioned in the last set or clip, some of these every once in a while, just in case there's screws missing to put the caddy in there. The screws that come in the case that you can unscrew, there were 2 missing out of this one, so there were only 3 and we need 4. So thankfully I had grabbed the 5th one out of, because HP put 5 screws instead of just 4, so I put the extra one up there on the shelf, and I was able to use it for this PC down here. So let's kind of show you. So over here is our little switching unit that's right there. And this goes to this little switcher right here, and we have 4 sets of cables that come off so we can hook up 4 computers. Now I had to put power cords and power strips like right here, and network cables to these 2 network switches up here in order to have internet and power to all of them, so that we can image these 4 at basically one time. Now this is not that easy to do technically, because of the fact that we have we had to, now that the newer PCs have different video ports on them, we had to, that's a little bit older switch, so we had to add these little adapters on there. For whatever reason, if they are inside of the imaging portion of it, what's called Pixie Boot, when you switch it, you won't get any video. So unfortunately I have to start them imaging, and then I can move on to the next one, start that one imaging, and it takes about 15 minutes to get into the imaging, so I'm not gonna make you guys sit through that part, but I am going to show you connecting these real quick. It only takes a couple minutes, and then I'll get the first one started. I'll show you how it works, and then I will cut the video off for a few minutes and then get into Pixie Boot. For HP computers, actually most computers, to get into what's called network boot or Pixie Boot, it is the F12 key on the keyboard. That's pretty much always the same for every computer. Getting into other functions is different on most computers, depending on the manufacturer. Like to get into the BIOS on an HP computer, it's the F10 key, but on a Dell, I believe it is the F2 key on the keyboard. So it varies with manufacturers. So let's get these all hooked up now. So I have a mouse and keyboard all set up right here, and it works on all of them. Like I said, I have these all bundled together. I don't know if you can see that very well, but they're all bundled together with Velcro, and it includes a power cord, 2 USB cables that come from the switch, which we have our USB devices connected to, and then it includes network cable and the video cable. So now those are all connected. And one thing about those, the thing that I just threw, these little ones, they take a different type of power cord. So I had to actually set up 2 power bricks back here, so that we can at least do 2 of this kind of computer at one time. So I have those 2 over here. There's going to be 2 of those that will get plugged in. And then we grab this guy. And the switch actually goes from 4 is at this end here, and then 1 is at that end. So It's can be kind of interesting to get these plugged in sometimes, especially if you do it backwards from what you normally do. I normally hook up 3 and then 4, but you guys get the gist. It's there we go. These little ones are much easier because they take up so much less room than the other ones. But like I said, these it's very easy to hook up these cables. I don't need to show you how to do it on here because your setup will be different than mine. It's not, I don't know that you can even buy these imaging KVM switch this type anymore. I actually am the one that talked our old manager into buying these. I had one at home when I had my own business doing the computer repair, and it actually just is an awesome thing. It's called a KVM switch, and it just helps you switch between devices. So very cool. We've got these all set. So I'm gonna make sure my switcher is on number 1 here. It is on number 1, and then we come to the keyboard and just tap the F12 key over and over and over again until, oh, this one's yelling at me because I changed the memory. So I have to hit the F1 key, and then it will. And this one, which I forgot, and this is a very good lesson, I forgot that this one was set to a different type of imaging than we normally use. So I have to actually go into the BIOS, and I have to go and change secure boot. This allows you to boot into a different type of imaging process, and it uses the UEFI type of BIOS as opposed to the old style BIOS setup. So I have to hit enter here, or actually right arrow and then enter, and then F10 to accept, F10 to go back, and then enter to save and enter to reboot. And now I tap the F12 key to get it into the Pixie boot or network boot, whatever you want to call it. And now I have an option here to do IPv4 or IPv6. Most people do not utilize the IPv6 yet. It's just a different form of internet protocol addresses that was created because we were running out of IP addresses. And then we hit enter, and enter one more time, and it will go into Pixie boot after you hit enter one more time. And that's it. Once we get into Pixie, I will do another clip so that you guys can see what goes on in there. Okay, so we're in our Pixie boot now, and you can see part of the words in that corner. It's called Microsoft System Center Configuration Manager, which is the long version of SCCM. which is what I was calling it earlier in the video. So now you know what that stands for. It's System Center Configuration Manager. And this is what it looks like when we go into our Pixie boot. Basically, it's just a graphical interface that allows us to connect to a network device, a server, and pull our image from it, because when they create our image for our PCs, it basically it has changes in it for the operating system and specific software and policies that basically lock down some of the features that can be used by the users, or actually can't be used most of the time by the users, so that they do not make changes that they shouldn't be. I'm going to sit you back over here and kind of explain things a little more, so that you can see what I'm doing, but you can't see the information on the screen. So over here in this top little box, you'll see the 3 boxes on the left hand side, and there's a center, and then there's a right hand side. So the left hand side there is where we name the computer. We add our ticket number to the computer, or to the imaging process, if we have a ticket number. For this instance, I'm just imaging them, getting them staged for next computer that I do need to replace. So I don't have a actual ticket number per se for that. So, and then it asks for the technician's name. We just put our initials in there, so I'm RS, of course, for Robert Smith. And then the center top part is operating system, which operating system we want to use. I'm not sure why they've left Windows 7 in there, considering it's no longer supported by anyone. So I'm going to choose Windows 10, of course. And then we have an option for encryption, which we do use, but because these computers were set up as Windows 7, that means that the chip on the motherboard that allows for the trusted platform module is most likely not enabled. And so if I enable that BitLocker encryption, it's just going to fail during imaging, and I'll have to do it again anyway after it images. So I'm not going to check that box. And then this one here is a required software. It's called Imprivata OneSign. Basically, it's just our, it's like a security software that you can save your passwords and stuff in. And we use a RFID reader to read our badges. So we can just swipe. There's actually one sitting right here with this little red dot on there. We can swipe our badge and it'll let us log into the computer. So it's actually a pretty cool method of being able to sign in, instead of having to type your password every time you go to log in, every time you get up from your computer, because we are required to lock our computers when we walk away from them, for security reasons, of course. And then this section here after that one, so Imprivata is required. You don't have a choice, but you have to install it. And then we have a few software options like Microsoft Office viewers. Basically, that's if they don't want to pay for Microsoft Office, they can use the viewers just to look at Microsoft Office type products, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, those kinds of things. And then we have Nuance Power PDF. That is a PDF editing software, which is free. So I choose that on every single one. And then we have the Fujitsu package, because we have a lot of users that have a Fujitsu document scanner that they can scan documents to the computer that were filled out by patients and things like that. So we can choose that. And then we also have Zoom, which is the meeting software, the video meeting, video conferencing software. Same with GoToMeeting. Those are both also. And then we have the VC Redist Runtime. That one is, most people don't need that, and we don't choose it a lot. It's just an option that we have in there. And then on this side, we have an option for whether it's a new install of Office or a refresh, which is like basically it kind of deletes all the user's information that was on the computer and just refreshes the OS. Basically resets it to a default level, instead of completely imaging the PC. We never use that. We never use the refresh. Most of the time it doesn't work. Anyway, it fails. So we don't ever do that. And then there's also, I didn't tell you, over here under the initials, we have an option for workstation selection, which is you can choose between primary or shared. Primary is when the user logs in as themselves. The shared workstations are normally at our nurse's station in the hospital, things like that, where the machine is shared by many different users. It logs in as a generic, actually as the computer name, and then the users have to log into which software they use on the computer. So basically, it stops from having 100 people log on to the same computer and 100 different profiles. It allows us to use one profile, and then the users just log into their software, like Epic, which is the basically the charting software for all the doctors and nurses. So they put all the patient information in Epic as themselves, but they're logged in as the computer name. So in this case, where I'm at our business office, there are no shared workstations here. Everybody logs in as themselves because pretty much all of the computers are dedicated to one user. So I don't really ever pay attention to that selection. And then the last one is basically, it's called disk part. What this does is it removes all of the partitions on the hard drive, if there were any, to allow for our imaging. Basically, if you had multiple sections of the hard drive, which you can create sections to a hard drive. Say you have a 500 gig hard drive, you can create two 250 gig partitions on a hard drive. So this basically removes any partitions and creates one drive with this is a 256 gig hard drive, so it's the whole 256 gigs, and then it creates its own partitions during imaging, because we have a recovery partition that we create for our imaging process. So once that's done, I always hit yes on disk part, and then once that's done, we just hit finish, and it starts doing its thing. That screen that popped up, it's telling me that it's removing the disk partitions to begin with, and then as soon as that's done, it will partition the disk and then format the disk and start installing the operating system, which is Windows 10 version 1909. So I think that's all I've got for right now. I'll probably take a little video when we get home. I did sell one thing, which is a LG Xeon cell phone, an old cell phone of mine. It's actually one of those slide phones that has the QWERTY keyboard on it. It's been sitting in a box forever, so it sold for $17. with eBay fees probably, and that's plus shipping, as always. Um, with eBay fees, that's probably just like a $16 profit, pure profit. I had so many items that I've actually sold more of the items that I had already than I've sold items that I bought at auctions and stuff. So that actually has become pretty good. I think now we're just over $4,000 in sales, about 45 items, 45 items total sold in the last 6.5 weeks. So hopefully it's sustainable like this, because it is actually became pretty good. I hope more people actually start going to my eBay store and buying the cool stuff that I have, because I still have a bunch of laptops. I've got a few more that I need to post still, that I've had sitting. One is my daughter's old laptop, the other one's my son's old laptop, that now they have a different device that's much newer and up to date, so they didn't need them anymore. They've been sitting on a shelf for a few years. So hopefully we sell a lot more, and I'll update you guys more when we get home, and I'll add more to this later. So I'm at home now, and I actually, on my way home, I had to go check out a store called Plato's Closet. I didn't even know that we had one of those in town here, but it's actually a pretty cool store. It's like a secondhand store where basically, you know, everything's kind of in used but like new condition. So I actually picked up these pair of Nike Air shoes. They're actually they were $30. The sold comps on them are anywhere from $60 to $80. I saw some as high as $100 on eBay, so I gotta look those up. I didn't see any just like that, but these are in super good condition. And if you look at them inside, it's virtually perfect. I mean, everything just looks really, really good on those shoes. So hopefully they'll be higher. Like I said, I didn't see any just like those, and none that were the pink and purple like that. And then if I can pick it up here, found this Hollister, California, this Hollister pullover hoodie, women's size large. So I got that one. This was, gotta look at the tag, I can't remember. This was $12, which was actually a pretty darn good deal. The sold comps for similar are anywhere from $25 to $45 on those. I have to try and find one that's very similar to that before I can figure out what the actual price is going to be. And then I found this Bengals number 18 for green. I don't know anybody. I don't even pay attention to football at all. So, but this was $7. You can never go wrong with an actual NFL logo or NFL branded jersey. It's it might take a while to sell, but that should sell from anywhere from $25 to $40, depending. And then this is my next find that I really liked was this Air Jordan windbreaker. It's in super good condition. I got it for $18, and those go anywhere from $40 to $60 online. Like I said, same thing. While I was in the store, I didn't find the exact match, but that's what gave me the price range for those. And then I've got two more that actually, this one was $18. It's Calvin Klein size extra large, just like almost like a fleece jacket. Again, that was $18. Similar type jackets, again, about $40 to $60. And then there's this one, which is the Nike. I don't know if I showed this Calvin Klein very well. Sorry about that. But then there's the Nike two-tone. This is a dry fit large. It feels like almost like a wetsuit material, and I've heard other resellers talk about these and sell these pretty well. I looked online. I couldn't find the exact match again, but similars, those are anywhere from $50 to $80, just those. So all in all, I mean, each item is anywhere from $30 to $60. I'm gonna say $50 an item for the jackets, and then about $30 for this jersey here. And so that's $250. That's almost $280 in items that I bought, and I only paid $105 for all of it. So hopefully we can get these listed within the next day or so and start getting those sold. But that's about it for this clip. I'm gonna actually go inside and I'm gonna sit down, and I'm going to make my last part of this video to show you guys part of my addiction was fueled today. So I got 2 more Funko Pops in my Pop in a Box subscription today. So I'm gonna go in the bedroom and I'm gonna unveil those for you guys while I'm recording it. Okay guys, so I'm here with my Pop in a Box subscription package. As you can see, they don't give you any indication of what you're gonna get when you open these. So without further ado, let's see what we got. I already cut it open. I always try to be careful so that I don't hurt anything, but let's see what we got. My Pop in a Box subscription is 2 pops, 2 figurines a month, every month, and right now it's based on movies. So I'm only gonna get characters from movies that I liked within the Pop in a Box website, and they guarantee that you don't ever get a duplicate of what you've already gotten, and that you're only going to get things that you have put on your like list. So that's one of those things that I really like about this, because I have hundreds of them on my like list, but they're, I don't know, only maybe 20 of them are actually movies. So I'm going to get ones that I definitely really like from the movies. So let's see what we got here. Let's see. Oh, my. It looks like I may have gotten 2 from the King Kong, Godzilla vs. King Kong movie. Which is, oh, look at him. It's King Kong with a battle axe. He's super cool. So hopefully the next one is Godzilla, because I don't have a Godzilla yet. Let's see, they're upside down. It's irritating. Oh, no, it's Battle Scarred Kong. So I got 2 King Kongs, which they are different ones. This is the first time I've gotten any that are similar, so you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I may have just mentioned that you don't get the same ones, but these are from the same exact movie. They're just 2 different ones. They're actually 2 numbers apart, which I am not going to complain. I love King Kong, and they both look super cool, and I'm going to add these to my collection. That is that puts me up to 27 of them now. So that is very cool. And now I got another box for shipping eBay stuff in. We could even put shirts or maybe even some pants and stuff in there. Who knows what. So I think this is going to be it for tonight. I hope you guys really enjoy the video. I did some tutorials. I talked about a little bit about what I said I was going to talk about, the having to cancel orders. But maybe I'll touch on that a little more in the next video tomorrow, so that I can actually go through and talk about my canceled orders, and because I had the same item like 2 or 3 times, 2 different items 2 or 3 times around the same time, but not the same buyers. I'm not sure if people are just like, oh, maybe I'll offer this much and he probably won't take it, and then I do accept it, and they're like, well, crap, I don't have the money. So we'll touch bases on that more a little tomorrow. But if you guys enjoyed the video, like I said, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, please. I have 5 subscribers now. Super awesome. So it went up 1 in a week. So keep going, people. Thanks a lot for watching. Smitty out.